Women are at the center of Igbo sociality, meaning how the Igbo interact as human beings. Before contact with Europeans, long ago, the Igbo ran a social system that was purely matriarchal, meaning the power turns around women.
This is Igbo Viva, the digital heritage community for over 70 million Igbos all over the world. I am Nze Akachukwunwamkpo Oputa Ifeade, your host. Today, we return with Professor Peter Jazzy Ezeh, Professor of Anthropology, University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Please, let's welcome and listen to him. Professor Jazz Ezeh, welcome once more to Igbo Viva.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much indeed, Oputa Ifeade. You are doing a wonderful job for our people.
Thank you, Prof. Last time you were here, our audience has been on my back. They even said, look, Prof should set up his own channel. So I'm asking them to mobilize money so we can build a studio for you. So it's been great.
Yeah, yes, it's good to know this, except you should beg them for me. Prof has a lot of unfinished projects that he would like to continue with, but I'm ready to do whatever you might find helpful for what you have started.
Thank you. Yes. Okay, so now, today, I want to appreciate you introducing us to a very outstanding Igbo man, a man called
Joseph Anafu.
Joseph Anafu. Yes. Now, this man has done a compilation of works, of studies done on Igbo people from 1927 to 1970, this work. And it is amazing that there are 3,000 and something works done within this historic space on Igbo people. I also want to appreciate you for agreeing that we should further this work by taking it from 1970 till date.
Great.
So thank you very much for that. Today, I want us to talk about women. Women in Igbo society. Tell us about how does Igbo society look at women? What is womanhood for Igbo people?
Women are at the center of Igbo sociality, meaning how the Igbo interact as human beings. It didn't start now. Indeed, if anything is being vitiated by the encounter, by the contact with the foreign imperial powers. Indeed, one Igbo and female anthropologist known all over the world, namely Professor Ife Amadiume, had done several full-length books on the thesis I have just pronounced. Indeed, the position of Ife Amadiume is that before contact with Europeans, long ago, that the Igbo ran a social system that was purely matriarchal, meaning everything the power turns around women. She did a book in 1980s, which she called The Foundation of African Matriarchy.
Foundation of
African Matriarchy. Her African is a K instead of C, and it was published in London, I think by Z Book. And she had evidence of what in anthropology we call survivals. That is social evidence, no longer in its pure or essential form, but nevertheless survive for people to know that that sort of system existed. She used, for instance, a part of Anambra, where you have the Demili, and it happens is the most powerful deity around there. And Idemili is female.
Female goddess.
Yes. Now, if you broaden that, you could point to some survivals, if you like, in other parts of Igboland, in the shape of how kinship is run. For instance, in all the Cross River Basin, Igbo living along Cross River Basin, it is either matrilineal system, meaning systems where you reckon membership of that society along your mother's line, never your father's line. And indeed, recently, a man called John McCall from the US spent some time doing ethnography among one of probably the best known in terms of this system of kinship system, namely the Ohafia.
Ohafia, okay.
Yes. And he devoted a full chapter reporting on one female personage whom for all practical purposes is regarded as a man. The name of the person is Neoku.
Neoku.
Yes. Okay. And now not only marries a woman, but is indeed polygynous, meaning she married more than one. And all the secret society that wields power in that particular community,
okay,
which ordinarily you didn't admit women. Neoku is a member of all of them, the Ekpe and such things. So, but the important thing, addressing your question directly, is that apart from Amadiume's speculations, which you needed to go very far into history to be able to confirm, they are survivals, vestiges that still anybody could go and observe. Ohafia, Abam, Mkporo, Eda, Aruchuku, all of them, matrilineal. And then you have the Afikpo that manages to combine both. That is both patrilineal, where you reckon through the father's side, and the matrilineal, which I have explained, you record through the mother's side.
You've heard that women are not just part of Igbo society. They are at the center of Igbo society, not just biologically, but as godheads and powerful deities. Now, listen in the next segment as Professor Ezeh reveals how a man in Igbo society can actually become a woman and a woman become a man. Now, I would like you to say, explain to us in a few definite words.
Yes.
Who is a woman in Igboland?
Well, a woman in Igboland must be a biological female, ordinarily. That is someone who is not a man, potentially capable of getting pregnant and being delivered of a baby. That's ordinarily, biologically. The Igbo recognize that. But the Igbo goes a step further. And again, we go back to Ifi Amadiume. She also wrote another book, which she calls Female Husband and the Male Wife. What that means is that one's accomplishment and the status within society may also confer the status of woman on that person. Just as accomplishment and status can confer on woman the status of a man. We've cited the case of Neoku. I add this. In some Igbo cross-river societies, when I talk about cross-river, it's not the state. It is the big river that flows into Atlantic Ocean. Now, this is a situation, condition, a man finds himself. You know he's a man, but you still call him a woman. They would like to say Ebonwanyi. But he has a story of his own.
Yeah,
yes.
That's what I want to get.
Yes, yes.
So in Igboland,
yes,
there's a biological woman.
That's right.
And there's a socio-cultural woman.
Yeah, social woman.
Social woman.
Yes.
Okay, can you explain that? But you've explained the biological woman,
yes,
which is ability to deliver a child.
Right. That's right.
What is a social woman?
Well, a social woman, but generalization is risky here, because there may be some Igbo communities that might not accept that. And we as anthropologists are not surprised. When we deal with kinship, you are going to see that the Igbo is alone of all other societies on this planet in having 3 kinship, varieties of kinship system. No other one does. Societies pick either one or the other of the kinship system. We can return to that with evidence. Why do I need to say this now? I needed to say it so that you see that various Igbo communities also organize themselves in the way they see fit. I think during our last meeting, I had made the point of departure, the way anthropologists, not least ethnologists, look at the issue of culture. That is, it is tailor-made by a community for itself. So having said this, among some, if not all, Cross River Basin Igbo, if a male, a young boy or young, have not grown to a point where he is initiated into manhood in the sense of being recognized as having all the attributes of man, you must enter certain secret societies. If you had not accomplished that as culturally sanctioned, supported by culture, then that person is still a woman, meaning that person cannot participate in matters that are designed for fully fledged men.
Just give it to me the way it is.
Yes.
Who is a social woman in Igboland?
A social woman is a man who has not been accepted by custom as fully fledged man.
Okay.
Is a social woman.
Okay.
A social woman also is a woman who has the attribute of womanhood as defined by the culture.
In the last segment, you discovered that gender in Igbo culture goes far beyond biology. Stay with us, because what you are about to hear will challenge everything you think about the power of men in the face of accomplished women in Igbo society. Now, you've said that a woman,
yes,
is a biological
entity
that
yes.
can deliver, procreate,
right.
that
That's
can
right.
carry the baby
That's right.
and deliver the baby. Okay? So that is very essential.
Biological.
Yeah, but there is also a social woman.
That's right.
And that is why the Igbo say a woman is a man and a man is a woman.
Yeah.
So what is that social thing? Is there some characteristics, some qualities, some behavioral attitude? What is it? What makes it up?
Well, the Cross River Igbo that I have talked about.
Yes, I would want you, Prof, if you don't mind.
Yes.
To give us if you are talking about Cross River Igbo,
yes,
you may have to then talk about non-Cross River Igbo in this concept.
Okay.
But if there's something Igbo in the concept, we want to hear it.
Yeah. Cross River Igbo is part of Igbo.
I understand that.
Great.
But, you know, this woman concept exists across Igboland.
That's right.
So what is it?
Yes, but it exists, but not in a homogeneous form. If a man is effeminate, he may be referred to, but then that's metaphorically. As a woman, she lacks courage. He doesn't take, risks that are usually associated with man. That is how I have had it metaphorically said among non-Cross River Igbo or the Patrilineal Igbo. What is even more convenient for me would be to look at it from kinship standpoint, in which case I will have three categories of Igbo going by kinship. I will have the patrilineal, the matrilineal, double descent or co-agnetic. Okay,
good. So for the matrilineal, who is a woman?
Well, a woman is still two. They accept the biological view of woman, which I think we have described, if not defined.
Okay.
And then, of course, I have told you that until a male person gets to the social level where he has initiated into manhood, that person is regarded as a woman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have the biological woman.
Yes.
And the non-initiated person.
Exactly.
Yeah?
Exactly.
They are all women.
Exactly.
Even no matter their gender.
Exactly.
So when you are not initiated
Yes.
into the major societies,
Yes.
you are a woman.
Yes.
It's part of your gender.
That's
so
right.
your gender in that context does not
Yes,
matter.
that's right.
Okay, great. Well, how does the Igbo treat
Exactly.
women? What significance?
With utmost respect. And they wield enormous power in traditional Igbo system. They have the widest possible power that any other society in the world has given to woman. I give you an example. The anti-colonial agitation started with women. You may remember the so-called Aba women.
Riot,
yes.
Yeah.
That's women. And it shocked the Europeans. And their reaction to it was to go and find out. Because if it's in our place, the ones to go for this sort of thing will be men. How come it's rather the women who did this here? And then their idea to getting the answer was to fund two major anthropological research,
Okay.
whose researchers were women. One of them, the first, was a woman called Sylvia Leith-Ross. The other, who came later, was Margaret Green. Leith-Ross focused on what, if it's now, will be Rivers, part of Abia, and Imo State. She was based principally at Owerri. She published her work in 1939, and it's called The African Woman. I think the case of the Igbo. And one thing came out of it. She rated the Igbo gender relations the best that she had either read or came across, including her own country. Now, but she was worried. Her worry was that seeing the introduction of Christian religion at that time, we are talking about 1930s, the religion had been with us for barely 30 years, but is making inroads. And so she said, giving the encroachment of this religion and the Western style education, that she has the hunch that these wonderful gender relations will soon
Be destroyed.
be in peril.
You have now seen that women constitute the Supreme Court of traditional Igbo society and the judicial system. But don't go away, because in the final session, Professor Ezeh exposes how colonialism and religion began to dismantle this system into a caricature of the womanhood the Igbo society had before.
You will remember Lord Lugard. Lord Lugard the first Governor General of Nigeria.
Yes.
He was the one who wrote the foreword to African Woman. You know, that book by Sylvia Leith-Ross. And Lugard agreed with her. The British man agreed with her that the Igbo has very peculiar gender relations in favor of women, such that between the two genders, if any of them needed liberation, it would be the man.
The one.
It's still there in libraries. You can borrow a copy and look at it. That was Lord Lugard himself. Then later, Margaret Green came in. That one spent even a longer time. Okay. Because he went from just observing the sociality. Much later, she also went into learning the language, and indeed was one of the early grammarians, collaborating with some of our natives. I think there's the Methodist clergyman who collaborated with her. There used to be, in those days, the grammar book of Igwe and Green. So the same thing. She focused on what now will be Imo, or low part of Imo. And she collaborated the same type of gender equity existing between the male and the female members of society among the Igbo. Now, apart from those historical aspects, yes, you can also look at what happens, what remains as survivals. I keep coming back to that. Any dispute, any problem that defy the intervention of women in the shape of Umuada in practically all Igbo societies has no other remedy. There's nothing else anybody could do. So when male actors have tried whatever they thought could resolve a problem, if it is that intractable, it is Umuada, which you know, that will be called in. So that's the power of women in traditional Igbo society. I know that a research is going on right now by an American who, looking at this, also decided to come for on-site participant observation, meaning stay with the Igbo, see, try and do what they do so you could observe. And he told me that the most amazing thing so far is that all the most powerful deities that he had encountered, I'm not sure he has carried a complete survey of all that exists, but that so far, all the most potent deities in Igboland that he has encountered have been female. So again, that takes you back to thesis of Amadiume and her pupils, that originally Igbo was matriarchal. So,
key takeaways from this interview. 1. Women were central to Igbo civilization. In traditional Igbo society, women were not secondary, they were foundational. Power, influence, and social order often revolved around women, both spiritually and politically. 2, gender in Igbo culture was not purely biological. Beyond biological definition, Igbo society recognized a social gender, meaning status, achievement, and initiation could redefine gender roles within the cultural system, but warned that Western religion and colonial system would destroy this balance, a change still visible today. Now it's time to go to the comment section. Like, share, subscribe, and give us your thoughts on the powerful place women have in the Igbo society. I urge you to please invite the over 70 million Igbos living all over the world to come and drink from this fountain of Igbo wisdom. Let us go now to 100,000 views and 10,000 subscribers. See you in the next episode.